Hello! Welcome to this tutorial dedicated to LMMS, a free and open-source digital audio workstation, or DAW, available for Linux, Mac OS, and Windows, providing a great free alternative to software like FL Studio. And it is still under development by enthusiasts. In just 11 minutes, we are going to see all the basics you need to know to start using it. When you open LMMS, it starts with a new, empty project. The interface consists of different windows that you can open and close using the buttons in the top left corner. Your main project is composed inside the song editor, putting together audio samples or custom patterns, realizing percussions or melodies. Let's start seeing how to build custom patterns using the beat and bass line editor. A pattern is a list of tracks that play together, each representing a specific sound like beats, drums, percussions, melodies, or sounds from synthesizers, such as the default kicker. You can build your pattern by clicking on any step to turn it on or off, and testing how this sounds with the player buttons in the top left corner. You can add more tracks by dragging beats, bass lines, loops, and other elements from the My Samples panel on the left. Click and hold any sample to preview it, and drag and drop it onto the beat and bass line editor to add it. You can also import your own samples in WAV, FLAC, and OGG format. To do this, go to Edit, Settings, and open Paths to get the location of the gig folder, which is where you can paste your samples inside. At this point, you can open such gig folder from the My Samples panel and import these in a new track. Consider that LMMS does not accept any MP3 file format yet. LMMS does not include features to record from your microphone. However, you can always use free software like Audacity to perform your recordings, and then import the result into LMMS using its gig folder. Do not miss our Audacity tutorial to check out how to perform your recordings. To build your pattern, turn on and off steps as you feel, keeping the pattern in playback continuously. If any single step sounds for a longer time, such as loops, you may not place steps too close by, or you risk overlaps. Alternatively, you may use sample tracks to handle longer sounds, especially if played just once. Add a sample track and import the sample file onto its orange region. This is played once per pattern, with a clear view of its waveform. By default, the pattern lasts 1 bar and follows a time signature of 4/4, so 4 beats per bar, with each beat under separated colors. You can change the time signature and check the time display in either seconds or bars by clicking on it. You can also change the pattern duration with the buttons in the top right corner by either adding or removing bars. Now let's see how to manage the pattern tracks. On the left side, the first button allows you to mute or unmute a track, and the second one to solo it. You can also click on a track name to change several properties including delays, slopes, volume, attack and release times, pitch, or even adding audio filters. These properties may vary whether if you open a sample or a synthesizer, and may not be available on sample tracks. You can also use the vol knob to adjust the volume of each track, and the pan knob to balance the stereo channel volumes. To remove a track, click on the gear button and go to Remove this track. To create a new pattern, go to Add Beat Bassline. All patterns share the same tracks, but can have different steps turned on or even entirely off. This way you make different custom patterns you use to compose your song. Now let's see how to make MIDI compositions. You have 2 options for these: using virtual synthesizers, or synths, or connecting external instruments. In this beginner tutorial, we are going to see how to work with synths only. By default, patterns are provided with a default kicker synth, but you can import others from the Instrument Plugins panel on the left. At this point, click on any synth name to check its properties and preview its notes and octaves. As you turn on steps on the pattern, you only get a single default note. To start composing, right-click on any step and go to Open in Piano Roll, checking the synth name on top. On the left side, the piano roll shows notes as letters and numbers as octaves. You can click on these to test how the synth sounds. To drop notes, enable the Draw mode and click on the piano roll grid. As you compose, the pattern visualization changes, showing the notes and their placement. If your composition extends over a longer duration, make sure to enlarge the pattern until you match the pattern bars with the piano roll bars, indicated by small black lines. You can compose more easily by enabling loop playback. Simply right-click and hold while dragging on the timeline to create a loop region, and click on Enable Loop Points button to continuously play back such region. On top, you can adjust the tempo and BPM to set how to convert beats and bars into seconds. This is particularly important for MIDI compositions, which are not yet rendered in time. The higher the tempo, the faster the rhythm in the compositions, without affecting rendered samples. You always have full control over your notes. You can click and drag a note to move it. You can also click and drag any edge to adjust the note length and time. Avoid snappings with the Alt key down. To remove a note, simply right-click on it. To select and move multiple notes, switch to Select mode and click and drag to select the desired notes in order to move them together. At the bottom, you can also fine-tune the properties of each note, adjust velocity to control the volume, and click again to set the stereo panning instead. Now that you have your patterns ready, you can import them into the song editor to build your project. This gets several tracks representing synths, sample tracks, and one track for each pattern. There is also an automation track to control various parameters over time, but we won't see it in this beginner tutorial. The song editor has a timeline and bars and beats, following the tempo set on top. To add a pattern, just click on the timeline to drop a segment, such as a single and complete playback of it. To zoom in on the timeline, use your mouse wheel while holding down the Control or Command key. To import audio samples, you can turn on any pattern that includes it in a sample track, or simply add a sample track directly in the song editor. In this case, enable any segment, and click on it to import and place a sample straight away. On the left, you can manage all your tracks as seen in the beat and bassline editor. You can also click and drag segments to move these in time, and adjust their duration by dragging from their edges. Right-click on any to remove it. To play back the song, use the player controls in the top left corner, or use the spacebar key. You can also loop playback the song as seen for the piano roll. On top, you can also adjust the master volume for your entire project song, and the pitch for your synthesizer's audio. These adjustments are applied on patterns as well when working with the beat and bassline editor. To mix and fine-tune your tracks, you can open the FX Mixer. This provides options to manage volume and apply effects to selected tracks from either any pattern or the entire song. By default, it only includes the master track, such as the overall sound of your project, from the song or the current pattern. To control more tracks, simply add a new FX channel and connect a track by going to its Gear button and then to FX, choosing the appropriate channel. Consider that you can't connect entire patterns or sample tracks inside the mixer. At this point, you can select any channel to mute and solo it, adjust its volume, or even add effects on the right. These include EQ, filters, compression, delays, and much more with their own set of properties you can adjust to achieve the desired sound. Effects are applied in order, creating a chain. You can also turn on, off any effect, and right-click on any to change its position in the chain, or remove it. You can use the WD knob to set the ratio between the original sound and the effect, the decay knob to determine when the effect turns off, and the gate knob to set a threshold below which the effect is not applied. Once your song is ready, you go to Export Current Project in the top left corner. Choose Name and Destination folder, and then set file format, sample rate, and bit depth according to your preferences. If you only want to export the content within any active loop region, make sure to check the box Export Between Loop Markers. Thank you very much for watching this tutorial. Do not miss the opportunity to visit our YouTube channel and our official website to learn more tips and tricks completely for free.